quiet cafe in Rotterdam. May 23, 1938. The scent of coffee mingles with cigarette smoke as businessmen discuss the day's affairs. But one man sits differently. His posture screams discipline, his clothes immaculate, his eyes calculating every detail. He calls himself Pavel Sudoplatov. The passport in his pocket bears this name, but documents can lie, people can pretend, and sometimes a single box of chocolates can change the course of history. The man he's meeting trusts him completely. Why shouldn't he? They've known each other for years, shared secrets, built plans together. But trust, in the world of espionage, is the most dangerous weapon of all. In 30 minutes, this cafe will become a crime scene. Debris will rain down as silence swallows the street. Windows shattered, and one of Europe's most feared nationalist leaders will cease to exist. But who was the man behind this operation? How did a miller's son from a small Ukrainian town become one of history's most lethal intelligence operatives? And why did his own country eventually brand him an enemy of the state? This is the story of Pavel Sudoplatov, the ghost who haunted Stalin's enemies, the professional who never missed his target, and the man Ukrainian nationalists feared above all others. They had a name for him: Stalin's Wolfhound. Picture a world where loyalty could mean survival or doom, where a single conversation with the wrong person meant a bullet to the head. This was Pavel Sudoplatov's reality from the moment he stepped into the shadows of Soviet intelligence. Don't forget to like, leave a comment, and subscribe. You are not here by accident. Born July 7, 1907, in a modest family, Ukrainian father, Russian mother. But childhood ended abruptly when civil war tore through his homeland. At 12 years old, Pavel made a choice that would define everything. He ran away to join the Red Army, not as a mascot, as a soldier. The boy who should have been playing with toys was instead learning the art of survival, fighting alongside men twice his age, watching friends disappear in the night, and slowly, methodically, understanding that in this new world, only the clever survived. But what transforms a child soldier into a master spy? The answer lies in a peculiar talent Sudoplatov possessed: the ability to become anyone. Witnesses described him as having Hollywood good looks, soft-spoken, intellectual, the kind of man who made you want to trust him completely. A perfect mask for deadly intentions. By the 1930s, he had caught the attention of the most powerful intelligence apparatus in the world. The NKVD needed someone who could disappear into enemy organizations, someone who could smile while planning your destruction, someone exactly like Pavel Sudoplatov. Spring 1937. Stalin's paranoia reaches new heights. Ukrainian nationalist movements are gaining strength, backed by German intelligence. At the center of this web sits Konovalets, a man who dreams of an independent Ukraine and isn't particular about his allies. The meeting in the Kremlin lasts only minutes. Stalin's request sounds almost casual. "What does Konovalets enjoy?" he asks, studying the young intelligence officer before him. "Chocolates," Sudoplatov replies, puzzled. "Ukrainian chocolates. He always carries a box with him." Stalin's eyes narrow slightly. Consider this carefully. What follows is one of the most ingenious assassination plots in espionage history. Soviet technicians take an ordinary box of chocolates, 20 by 15 centimeters, and transform it into something far more sinister. Inside, a deadly surprise crafted by Soviet specialists. No trace, no warning, no precedent in the history of espionage. The mechanism is diabolically simple. Keep the box vertical until 30 minutes before the meeting. Then turn it horizontal to activate the chemical timer. Exactly 30 minutes later, detonation. No way to stop it. No way to detect it. No precedent in the history of espionage. But why send Sudoplatov to deliver it personally? Why not use a local asset? The answer reveals everything about how Soviet intelligence operated. Konovalets traveled with 4 bodyguards. A direct assault was impossible. But a trusted friend bearing gifts? That was a different matter entirely. For 3 years, Sudoplatov lived a double life that would challenge the sanity of most men. By day, he was Pavel Valyuk, committed Ukrainian nationalist, trusted confidant of Konovalets, passionate believer in the cause. By night, he reported every conversation, every plan, every weakness to his handlers in Moscow. The psychological toll must have been enormous. To smile at a man while planning his demise, to build genuine relationships while serving a hidden agenda, to become so trusted that Konovalets makes him his personal representative for underground communications. But Sudoplatov had advantages beyond his acting ability. His cover was nearly perfect. He worked as a radio operator on Soviet ships, providing legitimate reasons for frequent travel. His handlers had created an identity so detailed that even experienced counterintelligence couldn't penetrate it. The spring of 1938 brings the moment of truth. Sudoplatov boards a cargo ship to Rotterdam, knowing he might not return. The chocolate box in his possession could explode during transport. Konovalets might refuse the meeting. Security might intercept the gift. 1,000 variables could turn this mission into a suicide run. But professionals don't think about failure. They think about execution. May 23, 1938. Hotel Atlanta Cafe. The meeting proceeds exactly as planned. Old friends catching up. Casual conversation about the movement's future. And then the exchange. A seemingly innocent box of Ukrainian chocolates. Konovalets accepts the gift with genuine warmth. Why wouldn't he? It's from a trusted ally, a man who's proven his dedication to the cause countless times. They shake hands, exchange pleasantries, make plans for future collaboration. Sudoplatov leaves the cafe knowing that in 28 minutes, one of Europe's most dangerous men will cease to exist. The explosion was heard several blocks away. In a matter of seconds, one of Europe's most dangerous men was gone. The leader of the organization of Ukrainian nationalists, dead in an instant, never knowing that his most trusted ally had been his executioner. But this success creates an unexpected problem. Who could have orchestrated such a sophisticated assassination? Local police have no leads. The method is too advanced for criminal gangs, too precise for amateur revolutionaries. The investigation goes nowhere, which is exactly what Moscow intended. Sudoplatov returns to the Soviet Union as a hero. Stalin personally congratulates him. His career accelerates rapidly. But with success comes new, even more dangerous assignments. August 1940, Mexico City, another impossible target, another creative solution. Leon Trotsky, Stalin's most hated enemy, lives in a fortress-like compound, surrounded by guards, protected by multiple security layers. Traditional assassination methods have already failed spectacularly. Enter Ramon Mercader, a Spanish communist whose mother has connections to Soviet intelligence. Handsome, charming, and completely expendable. The plan is elegant in its simplicity. Seduce someone close to Trotsky, gain access to the compound, and strike when the moment is right. Mercader's target is Sylvia Egoloff, secretary to Trotsky's organization. The romance begins in Paris, continues in Mexico. Slowly, carefully, Mercader becomes part of the household, not as a threat, but as a friend, someone beyond suspicion. The weapon chosen tells us everything about Sudoplatov's thinking. Not a gun, too noisy. Not poison, too unreliable. An ice axe, silent, deadly, and readily available in Mexico. The kind of tool that wouldn't raise suspicions until it was too late. August 20th, 1940. Mercader arrives at Trotsky's villa to discuss a political article. Under his long coat, the ice axe waits. While Trotsky reads the manuscript, Mercader positions himself behind the target. One swing, one moment, and Stalin's greatest enemy falls. But the plan isn't perfect. Trotsky managed to draw attention before collapsing, forcing the operative into immediate capture. Mercader is captured, beaten, nearly killed by the security team. He spends 20 years in Mexican prison, never revealing his Soviet connections. Mission accomplished. But at what cost? June 1941 changes everything. German armies pour across Soviet borders. Suddenly, Sudoplatov expertise in unconventional warfare becomes critically important. Stalin needs saboteurs, guerrilla fighters, specialists in behind-the-lines operations. Sudoplatov's solution is characteristically unconventional. Instead of using traditional party members for underground work, he recruits criminals, outcasts, people with nothing to lose. Who better to survive in occupied territory than those already experienced in evading authority? The logic is brutal but effective. Communist Party officials are known to the Germans. Their families can be threatened. But career criminals? They have no official records, no traceable connections, no moral qualms about necessary violence. From Moscow's Matrosskaya Tishina prison, Sudoplatov recruits gang leaders, safecrackers, black market specialists. He offers them redemption through service. Most accept, understanding that cooperation beats execution. One particularly audacious plan involves mining major Moscow landmarks. If German forces capture the capital, hidden explosives will destroy the Bolshoi Theater, the Moscow Hotel, key government buildings. Even Hitler himself, should he visit for a victory parade, would face explosive surprises. The war never reaches Moscow, so these plans remain unused. But their existence demonstrates Sudoplatov's willingness to sacrifice anything, even cultural treasures, for strategic advantage. 1944 brings a new mission that will reshape global politics. Soviet leadership realizes that atomic weapons represent the future of warfare. But the Soviet Union lags years behind American and British research. How do you catch up quickly? You steal the information. Sudoplatov's network of agents and sympathizers begins the most successful intelligence operation in history. From research facilities across America and Britain, blueprints flow eastward. Reactor designs, uranium enrichment processes, critical mass calculations, everything needed to build atomic weapons. The moral implications seem irrelevant to Sudoplatov. He's not stealing weapons. He's gathering information that could prevent Soviet annihilation. In his mind, espionage serves defensive purposes. Enemy atomic monopolies threaten Soviet survival. Years later, Sudoplatov will claim that stolen intelligence accelerated Soviet atomic development by 5 to 6 years. Whether this estimate is accurate remains debatable, but the strategic impact is undeniable. Nuclear parity emerges much faster than Western intelligence anticipated. 1949. Western Ukraine seethes with nationalist insurgency. Roman Shukhevych, codename Wolf, leads the underground organization of Ukrainian nationalists in a brutal campaign against Soviet authority. Stalin wants him eliminated. Permanently. Shukhevych presents unique challenges. Unlike Konovalets or Trotsky, he operates from hidden bases in hostile territory. He trusts no one completely. His security measures reflect years of survival in the intelligence underground. Traditional assassination methods won't work. Sudoplatov's solution involves psychological warfare. Instead of hunting Shukhevych directly, he targets the women in his life. Lovers become intelligence assets. Personal relationships become vulnerabilities. Human connections. The one weakness every underground leader possesses. The breakthrough comes through Daria Husyak, Shukhevych's girlfriend, captured with a pistol and poison capsule. Initially refusing cooperation, she eventually reveals information through a carefully orchestrated deception involving planted intelligence agents posing as fellow prisoners. March 5, 1950. The final confrontation takes place in a small village outside Lviv. 376 soldiers, 60 operatives, one target. The house is surrounded at dawn. When Shukhevych tries to escape through a hidden passage, gunfire erupts. Within minutes, the wolf is dead. Ukrainian nationalists still claim Sudoplatov personally executed Shukhevych. The truth is simpler and more mundane. A sergeant fired the fatal shot. But legends serve political purposes that facts cannot. March 1953. Stalin's sudden passing changes everything overnight. The brutal pragmatism that characterized Soviet intelligence operations under his rule becomes politically dangerous. New leaders need scapegoats for past excesses. Sudoplatov's extensive record, assassinations, kidnappings, sabotage operations, makes him a perfect target. Nikita Khrushchev, now rising to power, remembers their policy disagreements regarding Ukrainian nationalist suppression. Personal revenge disguised as political necessity. The charges were grave, involving questionable methods used by intelligence services, multiple cases of illegal elimination, conspiracy against state leadership. Evidence is manufactured when necessary. Testimony is coerced. Justice becomes secondary to political convenience. But Sudoplatov possesses one final skill that saves his life. In Vladimir Central Prison, facing possible execution, he begins feigning mental illness. For months, he maintains the pretense of complete psychological breakdown. Medical examinations fail to detect simulation. The performance requires incredible discipline, maintaining consistent symptoms, avoiding any behavior that might suggest conscious planning, living in character 24 hours daily. One mistake means death. 1968. After 15 years in prison, Sudoplatov emerges blind in one eye, physically broken, but mentally intact. The world has changed dramatically during his incarceration. The Cold War has replaced open warfare. Intelligence operations have become more sophisticated, but less deadly. His memoirs, Special Tasks, the memoirs of an unwanted witness, become international bestsellers. Western readers discover details about famous espionage operations from the inside. The chocolate bomb, the Trotsky assassination, atomic espionage networks. Previously, secret history becomes public knowledge. But perhaps most significantly, Sudoplatov lives to see his reputation restored. In 1992, Russian military prosecutors officially rehabilitate him. The criminal charges are dismissed. His service record is cleared. History judges him not as a criminal, but as a professional who served his country under extraordinary circumstances. The irony is unmistakable. The man once branded an enemy of the state dies honored as a patriot. The professional assassin becomes a celebrated memoirist. The spy who operated in absolute secrecy becomes a public figure sharing his experiences with the world. Epilogue: The Ghost's Legacy. Pavel Sudoplatov died in 1996, having witnessed the collapse of the Soviet system he served so faithfully. His story raises uncomfortable questions about loyalty, duty, and the moral costs of state service. When does professional obligation cross the line into personal responsibility? Throughout his career, Sudoplatov maintained that he was a soldier following orders. His targets were enemies of the state. His methods served defensive purposes. His loyalty never wavered, even when the state abandoned him. But others might argue that intelligence work requires moral choices that transcend political loyalty. That following orders doesn't absolve personal responsibility. That effectiveness doesn't justify brutality. Perhaps the truth lies somewhere between these extremes. Sudoplatov operated in a world where moral absolutes were luxuries few could afford. His enemies would have shown him no mercy. His country demanded total commitment. His survival required absolute professionalism. In the end, he was exactly what his nickname suggested: Stalin's Wolfhound. Loyal, lethal, and utterly dedicated to the hunt. Whether that makes him a hero or a villain depends entirely on where you were standing when the wolf came calling. The chocolate bomb that killed Konovalets in 1938 remains one of the most creative assassination devices in espionage history. The Trotsky operation demonstrated how patience and infiltration could overcome any security system. The Atomic Intelligence Network accelerated Soviet nuclear development by years. These weren't just successful operations. They were masterpieces of strategic thinking, operational planning, and flawless execution. The work of a professional who understood that in the shadow world of intelligence, there are no second chances. Pavel Sudoplatov lived 90 years, served his country for decades, survived Stalin's purges, endured 15 years of imprisonment, and died in his own bed with his reputation restored. In the brutal calculus of 20th century espionage, that might be the ultimate victory. The ghosts he created continue to haunt history. The secrets he stole changed the world. The enemies he eliminated never knew his real name. And the legend of Stalin's Wolfhound endures, reminding us that in the world of shadows, the most dangerous predators are often those who appear most human.